Hi everybody, today we're going to be looking at plotting quadratic and cubic graphs using a table of values. There is a booklet on Show My Homework that matches the examples that are on here, so you might want to print that out. A pen and paper will be fine though. I'll pause a minute for you to get any equipment you might need and then we will get started. So, here are some types of graphs. They're not all of them, but we're going to be focusing on today quadratic ones that have x squareds in and look like that, and cubic ones that have x cubes in and look like this when they're completed. So when we're plotting any graph, we need a pair of coordinates. So we need an x coordinate and the matching y value. A table of values, like this one here, often helps with that. So we're going to plot the graph of y equals x squared. So that means that our y value will be the x value squared. So for instance here, one that's already filled in for us, 4 squared is 16. So we're going to start here, 3 squared, which is 9. 2 squared, which is 4. 1 squared, which is 1. 0 squared, which is 0. And then we've got minus 2 squared because it's already done minus 1 squared for us. And remember here that minus 2 times minus 2, a minus times a minus is a plus. 2 times 2 is 4, so it's positive 4. It's done negative 3 for us, so we're going to move on to negative 4 and do negative 4 squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 4 is 16, so it's positive 16. So we've completed the table of values and now we need to plot the graph. So we need to go along to 4 and up to 16 because this is a coordinate pair. 3, 9, 2, 4, 1, 1, 0, 0, minus 1, 1, minus 2, 4, minus 3, 9, and minus 4, 16. When we've plotted that, we need to join them together with a smooth curve. Second example we're going to look at is plotting a graph of y equals x squared plus 2. So again, we're going to start this end. We're going to start in the positives until we feel more confident, and then we're going to move into the negatives. So we're doing y equals x squared plus 2. So that means to get our y value, we need to square our x value and then add 2 to it. So we're squaring our x value of 4 and add 2 to it. So 4 squared is 16, add 2 is 18. Then we need to repeat, but with 3. 3 squared is 9, add 2 is 11. Then we need to repeat with the x value of 2. So 2 squared plus 2. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 is 6. Then we've got 1 squared plus 2. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 is 3. It's already completed this one for us, so now we're moving into the negatives. So negative 1 squared, remember, negative times a negative is positive, so this will be 1 plus 2, which is 3. Again, we're now using negative 2 for x, negative 2 squared. Negative times a negative is a positive, 2 2s are 4, so 4 plus 2 is 6. It's done the negative 3 value of x, so now we're going to use x is negative 4. So negative 4 squared plus 2. 4 times 4 is 16. Negative times a negative is a positive. So 16 plus 2 is 18. We've now completed the table of values. So what remains is to plot the graph. So we've got our coordinate pairs 4, 18, 3, 11, 2, 6, 1, 3, and so on. So I'm going to plot those. 4, 18, 3, 11, 2, 6, 1, 3, 0, 2, negative 1, 3, negative 2, 6, negative 3, 11, negative 4, 18. So we've plotted them, and now we're going to join them together with a smooth curve. Another example here, we're going to draw the graph of y equals x squared plus x. So that means we're going to use these values here, and we're going to square them, and then we're going to add them back on again. So here, if we look, 4 squared is 16, plus 4 is 20. We're going to work with the positives and then move into the negatives where we feel more confident. So 3 squared plus x, which is 3 in this instance. 3 squared is 9, plus 3 is 12. Then swap in x is 2 in. 2 squared plus 2 is 6. Then repeat with 1. So 1 squared. X squared is 1 squared. X is 1. So 1 squared is 1 plus 1 is 2. Then repeat with the 0. 0 squared plus 0, which is 0. It's completed the -1 for x and the -2 for x. So we're going to move on to -3 for x. So we're going to swap in -3 squared plus -3. So remember here, this becomes a positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. 3 squared is 9, and then we're adding on a -3, which is the same as subtracting a 3. So it's 9 take away 3, which is 6. So we've completed the table of values, and now we're going to plot the coordinates. So 420, 312, 26, 12, 0, 0, -1, 0, -2, 2, -3, 6, and -4, 12. And again, last thing to do, join them together with a smooth curve. Final plotting quadratics example, we're going to draw the graph of y equals x squared plus x minus 1. So it's quite similar to the one before, but we're just taking 1 off at the end. So again, we're going to work in the positives and then move through into the negatives when we feel confident. So we're swapping in for this one. Every time we see an x, we're going to swap in a 3. So we're going to do 3 squared plus 3, take away 1. So 3 squared is 9, plus 3 is 12, take away 1 is 11. Then we're going to repeat that for x equals 2. So 2 squared plus 2, take away 1. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 is 6, take away 1 is 5. These two have been completed for us, so now we're moving into the negatives. So same process, we're going to substitute in a -1 for the x. So -1 squared plus -1, take away 1. So this bit becomes a positive because a minus times a minus is a plus. So we've got 1, and then we're adding a -1, which is the same as taking away 1, and then we're going to take away 1. So we've got 1, take away 1, which is 0, and then we're taking away 1, which is -1. And then finally, we're going to repeat that for -2. So -2 squared plus -2, take 1. So -2 times -2 becomes +4. And then we're adding a negative. So remember, that's a take away 2. And then we're taking away 1. So 4 take away 2 is 2. Take away 1 is 1. So we've completed the table of values. Now we're going to plot the graph. So 419, 311, 25, 1, 1, 0, -1, -1, -1, -2, 1, -3, 5, and -4, 11. And again, the last thing to do here is join them together with a smooth curve. So now we've looked at quadratic graphs, ones that have an x squared in. We're going to look at cubic graphs. So these ones have got x cubed in. So here we're going to draw the graph of y equals x squared minus 4. So we've got our table of values, and again we're going to start in the positives, and then when we're more confident we'll do the negatives. So y equals x cubed take away 4. So to get the y value for this x coordinate, we're going to cube the 4, and then we're going to subtract 4 from that. So 4 cubed, 4 times 4 is 16, and then we need to times that 16 by 4, which is 64, and then we need to take 4 away, which is 60. Then we're going to do the same process, but instead we're going to use 3 for the x value. 3 cubed, take away 4, so 3 cubed is 27, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, and then we're going to take away 4 from that, which is 23. Then 2 cubed, because the x for this bit is 2, and then we're going to take away 4 to get the y coordinate. So 2 cubed, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, take away 4 is 4. Then 1 cubed, take away 4, 1 times 1 is 1, times that by 1 is 1 still, and then we're going to take away 4, which is negative 3. Then we're going to use 0, 0 cubed, which is 0, take away 4 is negative 4. Then we're going to move into the negatives, so we need to be careful here and make sure we get our negative number work correct. So we're going to do negative 1 cubed, and we're going to take away 4. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 4, is positive 1, because remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. And then we're timesing that positive 1 by negative 1, which will leave us with negative 1, because a positive times a negative is a negative. So we're going to have negative 1 take away 4. So we're getting more negative, which is negative 5. We're going to repeat the process for negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 2 gives us positive 4. And then we've got to times that positive 4 by negative 2. So a positive times a negative is a negative. So that's negative 8. And we're going to take away 4, which is negative 12. Repeat again for minus 3. Minus 3 cubed is minus 27, and then we're going to take 4, so that's getting it more negative, so that's negative 31. And then we're going to repeat for negative 4. So remember again, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, and then we're going to times that positive 16 by negative 4, so 16 times 4 is 64, and then a negative times a positive is a negative, so we've got negative 64, take away 4, so we're getting more negative. So it's negative 68. So we've completed the table of values, and now we're going to plot them on the graph. So 460, 323, 24, 1 minus 3, 0 minus 4, minus 1 minus 5, minus 2 minus 12, minus 3 minus 31, and minus 4 minus 68. And then again, join them together with a smooth curve. Just something you need to be careful of here is this y scale. There's only 5 little squares, but there's 10 numbers, so each square represents 2. Now we're going to plot the graph of y equals x cubed, take away 4x squared plus 5. This is still a cubic graph, even though there's a squared involved, because the highest power is cubed. So that means it's cubic. So again, we're going to start with the positives, so we feel more confident, and then we'll move through into the negatives. So we're going to swap in here for this one. every time we see an x, a 5. So we've got 5 cubed, take away 4 times 5 squared plus 5. So 5 cubed, 5 times 5 is 25, then times that by 5, which is 125. And then this bit, 5 squared is 25 times 4, which is 100. So we're going to subtract 100, and then we're going to add 5. So we're doing 125, take away 100, add 5. 125 take away 100 is 25, add 5 is 30. So we've completed that one. Then, because these two have been done for us, we're going to move to x equals 2. So again, I'm just going to swap in x equals 2. So I've done 2 cubed, take away 4 times 2 squared plus 5. So 2 cubed, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And then this bit here, 2 squared is 4, times 4 is 16. So we've got 8, take away 16, plus 5. 8 take away 16, add 5 is minus 3. 8 take away 16 is negative 8, add on 3, so we're getting less negative. Add on 5, sorry, so we're getting less negative, is minus 3. Then we're going to repeat that for x equals 1. So 1 cubed, take away 4 times 1 squared plus 5. 1 cubed is 1. 1 squared is 1, times 4 is 4, plus 5. So we're doing 1, take away 4, plus 5. 1 take away 4 is minus 3, add 5 is positive 2. And then the last one for this example, we're going to swap negative 1 in. So we're going to do negative 1 cubed, take away 4 times negative 1 squared plus 5. Negative 1 cubed, as we've seen before, cubing a negative will give us a negative result. So this will be negative 1. And then here, negative 1 squared is positive, because it's a negative times a negative. So we've got 1 times 4, which is 4. And then we need to add 5. So we've got negative 1, take away 4, add 5. Negative 1 take away 4 gets more negative, so that's negative 5. Add 5 gets less negative, so that's 0. And then we've completed the table of values, and we are going to plot them on the graph. So 530, 4, 5, 3 minus 4, 2 minus 3, 1, 2, 0, 5, minus 1, 0, and minus 2, 19. Last thing to do, join them together with a smooth curve. Just a reminder of the types of graphs we've looked at: quadratic that's got x squareds involved, and cubic that's got x cubed. Don't forget, you swap your x values in to find your matching y values. I hope this helps, and if you need any support, just get in touch. Thank you very much.